Mulholland Drive was first conceived as a Twin Peaks spin-off, but soon after, it evolved into an original pilot idea poised to air on ABC. The story goes that the network bought the show's pitch, but once a pilot was produced, the exec who was supposed to greenlight the project ended up hating it and canceled the show. The sets were destroyed, the costumes and props were lost, so to salvage this project, director David Lynch had to rethink everything. He filmed a brand new ending and edited the footage into a feature film, giving us the movie we know today.
Just so you know, this is part 3 of a series on the meaning of Mulholland Drive. You sure don't have to watch the other 2 videos to enjoy this one, but it's going to give a better context to the stuff we talk about if you're into that. But anyway.
In the pilot, some plot points fall on very different beats than the film. This can change the impact and even the meaning of these scenes. Since the film was recycled from a show pilot, much of what we see in the final product may have originally had a different payoff plan for many episodes or seasons down the line. It's even fully possible this story was never even intended to be a dream. That may have just been a convenient way to reconcile all the pilot's loose ends in a span of a film's running time.
Usually there's 3 acts, and I don't really go by that, but it sort of ends up being that way. Because it's a form.
First of all, the pilot skips all the intro stuff. We get right to the car crash, the police, Aunt Ruth's place, and then straight to Betty moving in and meeting Rita. No ambiguous dream moments. And there is no creepy bum to get us all confused. And when we see the hitman screwing things up in the office, it's not some metaphorical decay of Diane's fantasy because based on where we are in the story arc, that hasn't even started yet. This once puzzling scene now just plays as a humorous introduction to one of Mulholland Drive's many colorful characters, Joe, that lovable clumsy hitman. More time is spent on Adam's stuff in the pilot, though it plays mostly like it does in the film. Same deal with Mr. Roque and the tertiary folks. This is likely to establish characters as we would be seeing more of them in future episodes. However, this time, when Betty and Rita make their plan to pay Diane a visit, they are not interrupted by a creepy old Louise Bonner like in the movie, but instead the camera shifts to a brand new character, Wilkins. You may remember his brief mention in the movie when his dog crapped in Coco's courtyard.
Wilkins!
Anyway, after Adam is thrown out of his house, he calls up his pal Wilkins to crash at his place. Here, at the pilot's midpoint, we're setting up the conditions in which our show will take place. The newly single Adam is going to be Betty's neighbor. And will sparks fly? Well, only time will tell. Needless to say, this scene was cut from the film because without an entire TV show following it, it goes absolutely nowhere. Poor Wilkins. He was a recluse screenwriter destined to be one of the great comic relief characters, like Andy in Twin Peaks. Instead, actor Scott Coffey got reduced to a bit role at the end of the movie.
You getting on the Wilkins Coffee bandwagon? Never. No.
Gee, I wonder why Scott Coffey got a role in a David Lynch film. Probably for the same reason Quentin Tarantino keeps giving all those roles to Scott Feet. Oh, and remember those cops at the beginning? Well, they come back. I mean, this is a crime show. Of course, we'll see them showing up now and then, probably causing more trouble for Betty and Rita as they attempt to solve the same mystery from the other end. Betty's audition feels pretty different in the show. But it's not the footage that's changed, it's just that when you watch the movie, this scene comes about halfway through its running time. And when this walking Donna Reed reboot wows the room with her sexiness, we all try to decode the deeper meaning of her performance and wonder what's happened in the story that made her change. But when you look at it in the context of a pilot, it's just establishing Betty's character. She's a woman who seems naive at first, but there's something more to her than what's on the surface. Yeah, maybe she's hiding some secrets, but that's not something we have to consider right now in the first episode. Half the fun of a David Lynch show is living in the ambiguity. Perhaps the most significant contextual change from the pilot to the film was the scene where Betty arrives on Adam's film set. In the movie, this scene is the enigmatic midpoint where these two characters meet for the first and last time. Over decades, fans have debated the meaning of their shared glance. What complex emotions are they feeling? What could have been between these two? How does this relate to Diane's real life? In the film, this is the last time we see Adam, at least in the dream. It's the point at which his story arc is complete. In the pilot, this is no longer the midpoint, but the beat just before Act 3. Here, this isn't a what could have been moment, this is a what is going to be moment. With Adam and Betty now living in the same apartment complex, it seems inevitable that these two will be seeing a lot more of each other over the course of the series. The audience is teased to wonder what the relationship between these two characters is going to be like. When Betty leaves, it's not an end to that story, it's just the beginning. Next, Betty and Rita find Diane dead in her apartment, who, by the way, is played by an extra, not any of the leads, because this pilot episode appears to mark the end of the Who is Diane Selwyn storyline. She's just one of many clues that these two are going to track down to find out who's after Rita. Finally, we wrap things up and introduce the premise of the show. The two sleuths head back to the house, having learned a valuable lesson.
Come on, it'll be just like in the movies.
And although Rita has overcome her initial fear of the unknown, she now sees she's not safe and will have to live her life incognito until this mystery is solved. Betty and Rita's interactions with each other, while nearly exactly the same as the film, don't lead to a romantic relationship in this first episode. That would likely develop much slower over the course of the series, if at all. As the show ends, we see a close-up of the money and the key, the mystery that will define this series. And in one final tonal note, we get a close-up of the bum behind the Winkies, with no context other than to let us know that this show is going to get scary and weird. It would have been interesting to see where this went, since the puzzle box show sets up a lot of questions to be answered, but instead we got a film that does its best to address them all in just under 2.5 hours. After all we've seen today, it looks like you simply can't understand all of Mulholland Drive. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. But, like with its predecessor Twin Peaks, the mystery of Mulholland Drive was never written to be perfectly solvable. Allegedly, when they were filming the Cowboy scene for the pilot, and that old farmhand delivers his ominous line about seeing him one more time if you do good, or 2 more times if you do bad, actor Justin Theroux straight up asked David Lynch if they were going to see the Cowboy 1 or 2 more times. David Lynch's response was, "I don't know. We will find out together." The literal meaning was never even a concern for the film's creator. So by trying to pinpoint all the themes of this film like we always do, are we just searching for something that was never really there to begin with? Well, let's ask the man himself.
I never talk about themes. People, they want to have an easy understanding of a film, whereas with music, they don't have that problem. It's just an experience. It's like a dream sometimes. You tell your friend a dream, the words fail you, but still you know inside. I think people should trust the understanding that comes to them from the experience. It might be a different theme for different people who see it.
Perhaps a film made with no definitive answers is the exact kind of film that viewers can't stop thinking about for decades after its release. Because even according to the film's creator, whatever you personally took away from Mulholland Drive is another valid interpretation of the work. But then again, did we really need David Lynch to give us special permission to think that? Couldn't the same be said for any film? But what's your favorite interpretation of Mulholland Drive? Do you like the endless pursuit for new clues, or do you think movies should have an ending that makes sense? Anyway, there's so much more to the film than what I covered in this one video, so let me know in the comments any pet theories you may have or fun things I missed.
Last time I uploaded this video, you all had a lot to say and quickly made this the most popular video on my channel. That is until it got taken down by a copyright claim. I did have to alter this video more than I'd like and split it up into 3 parts in order to repost it. But if you're watching it right now, that means the powers that be have deemed that this version is considered fair use. But who knows what they'll think tomorrow. And thank you so much to everyone who encouraged me to get this video back up. Now, I may have an idea for another Mulholland Drive video brewing up, so let me know if you'd like to see that. But for now, you could check out the Mulholland Drive playlist. Or if you want to see another video about love, fear, and the world of dreams, I've got one all about Over the Garden Mall.
In work and in life, we're all supposed to get along. We're supposed to have so much fun, like puppy dogs with our tails wagging. It's supposed to be great living. It's supposed to be fantastic.